What's going on YouTube? JT is Reborn here, and welcome back to another edition of my DC comic reviews. And in this video, we're going to talk about Batman and Robin, issue number 29. This one is written by Philip Kennedy Johnson with artwork by Fico Ossio. And we are continuing the Scarface storyline with The Quiet Man. And I've really been enjoying the hell out of this thing. I think it's really started to pick up the pace within the last few issues, especially with the reveal about the Ventriloquist and how he basically killed his handler and was tricking Batman using his Ventriloquist abilities for the past, several months or whatever it was that he was enacting this plan. The Quiet Man, we learned a little bit more about what happened. I mean, we kind of had the idea, but he really finally explains it, that he had a son named Alvin. And he found some silver, and like when he was out hunting with his son, and he agreed to sell it to Falcone, and then he was going to be set up for life, and that was it. Nothing more else. Didn't have any interest in just being a member of his gang or whatever like that. But all the other people trying to put like hits on Falcone with the Penguin, Two-Face, and then Scarface just being completely reckless, firing the machine gun, ultimately got his son killed, and then they drove off in the car where his son's body was at, and he was never seen from again. And with The Quiet Man, he just wants to get rid of Scarface. Anyone else in his way, he's not looking for a fight, but he will defend himself when the time comes. And he just wants to take revenge on the monster that did him wrong and his son wrong. And that's it. That's his motivations. He has a bit of a code. Like, he's not going to try and let somebody like Damian die like he did a couple of issues ago where he tried to save him. He's different. He has some gray areas as a character, and I think that's what makes him pretty interesting. And plus, one thing I do like about this, it's nice to see Scarface utilized in a meaningful way. I can't remember the last storyline, at least in like the mainline DCU, that had this interesting of a Scarface storyline. I mean, this is how you utilize him with the Ventriloquist and all that, and I thought it's worked. I think it's working quite well. So again, meanwhile at Blackgate Penitentiary, we see the Quiet Man there, and a lot of the guards are under the control of the Penguin, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna kill this guy tonight. He doesn't realize it, but they're talking loudly enough for him to hear. And the Quiet Man hears this. Like, he's a former Army veteran, and Batman kind of goes into talking to him about what he did and why he did what he did. And again, he explains it all, and then he also calls Batman out for putting his own kid in danger, which makes sense. I mean, he was a father and he lost that. He's like, you know what it's like to lose everything. Scarface, meanwhile, orchestrated this whole thing. He's the one who wrote the letters and sent them to the Quiet Man to initiate his path of revenge, to kind of eliminate his competition, so that way he can regain some sort of power too. So, and I like the way Scarface is drawn in this thing. I thought it was pretty good artwork throughout the entire issue. So they go off, and Batman and Robin have this conversation where he's like, he's a murderer, he's just like Two-Face and all that, and Damian like, he is, but he's not the same as them. And then Batman hits the brakes and is like, okay, say what you have to say. And they have a conversation, and he's like, do you believe what you're saying about this Cyrus Mercer guy? And he's like, why would it be any different? And Damian brings up the point where, what if compared to, he has similar motivations to what Bruce was in a way. Like, he just wanted kind of revenge for what happened. But the way, like Damian points it out, is like the reason he is the way he is he didn't have the resources necessarily to combat this evil in like a meaningful way, in the same way as Batman. Like, he's somebody who's lost a lot. Bruce had all these resources, he had all these different teachers, and this man was kind of lost. He's like, he understands that he's gone in a way, but are you not so different? And if not for Robin, I'd be much worse than this guy. And that's a good point. And then Batman's kind of proud of him for kind of standing up and believing like, okay, I get your point. I see why you view this guy a bit differently than the other criminals. And, Damian understands he's kind of gone at this point, but I'm like, yeah, he is like you. And I know you hate to admit it, but there are similarities in some way. But the difference being is he didn't have like the resources, or he didn't have the teachers to help guide him. Like, he didn't have an Alfred to lean on. I mean, it doesn't specifically mention Alfred, but this guy was alone, and he didn't have the means to kind of combat this evil the same way Batman did. And he was also a military veteran, and so it's not like killing isn't something he hasn't done before, but he is similar to Batman in a lot of ways, more so than Batman would care to admit. He's not the same as these other criminals. Like, he doesn't really have aspirations to be like this criminal like mastermind or anything like that. He just wants revenge on Ventriloquist for taking the most precious thing in his life. Nothing else. Anyone else who gets in his way is just kind of collateral, and it's not like he's trying to actively go after them. He just wants the ones to pay for what they did for his son. So they talk it over, and then they're like, okay, now we're on the same page, and I understand where you're coming from. Let's go and figure this thing out. And they realize that he's going to go after the Sacred Heart thing, which is where Bruce and Damien were going to speak on to begin with. Which, by the way, speaking of Sacred Heart, I wonder if they will have, because like the last arc, there was a really big deal about Damien saving that one girl who like kind of caused all that psychological like PTSD within him. We never had a final scene where he was talking to her after she got better, and I really hope Philip Kennedy Johnson brings that up, because I know this book is supposed to be ending within the next couple of months, which makes me very sad. Why do the good books have to end? Why does Philip Kennedy Johnson have to go to Marvel? And that's, really upsets me, because I really wanted him to stay. I do want the confrontation between Damien and the girl he saved. Like, that's one thing I feel like we were missing in the last arc, and now they're still referencing Sacred Heart and how they're reopening it, and they got the fundraiser and all that. I hope by the end of it we do get a moment like that, because I just feel like it's a missed opportunity, especially since that was a big, huge emotional point in the last arc. But to not have it just feels wrong, if that makes sense. It feels like we're missing something, but who knows? Now that they're bringing Sacred Heart back up again, where Damien's been volunteering and all that stuff with Bashar and all that from beforehand, hopefully we get kind of a little epilogue right there, just a moment, because we brought in the Gotham Irregulars and that, but I really want that final moment between Damien and the kid he saved. I feel like that's a good way to kind of close Philip Kennedy Johnson's time on this title. So yeah, the Quiet Man's in there. He breaks free from his stuff, takes out the guards, and decides to kind of leave most of them for dead, or maybe severely injured, and wants to use the one guy as his means to kind of break into the Sacred Heart thing and get revenge. So Penguin's there. Bruce and Damien were supposed to speak at this thing, and they just didn't get there because they're doing Batman and Robin duty. So the Penguin agrees to speak on, since nobody's there to kind of give a speech and all that, because Sacred Heart's in his territory. So yeah, look at that smug bastard right there. He looks very much like the Danny DeVito Penguin, and I always like that design. So yeah, basically, Quiet Man goes, gets himself ready, and he's going to go and shoot up the whole place, or at least just get his revenge on Scarface and all that, who's looking to take a hit on this whole thing. So all of it's tying together in a pretty organic and interesting sort of way. So we got a lot of good stuff in this issue. I think the conversation between Bruce and Damien about the Quiet Man, Cyrus Mercer, and how he's similar to Batman in some ways, but he didn't really have the means to kind of, like I said, it's similar, but obviously not the same. Batman obviously had Alfred and all that, but Batman putting in the same category as Two-Face and everybody else, and Damien's like, no, this guy is different. Like, you have to look at it a bit differently than that. And yeah, I agree he's kind of gone at this point, but don't compare him to like Two-Face or some of these other criminals just because he's taken a life. He's like, I've done the same thing, but I would have been much worse off if not for being Robin and all that. And Bruce kind of stops like, yeah, I guess you would have. But to be fair, Damien, that was like the life he was born into, which again, Bruce was born into a different life, so like he viewed justice very differently, and Damien obviously learned to accompany himself more along his father's lines of justice, and he's not going to go back to like that past unless some moronic writer decides to kind of change his character in the near future. But I mean, who knows what DC will do in that point. But yeah, I really like this storyline. I think the Scarface Ventriloquist is the best storyline I've seen with him, and God, I can't remember the last time he was even utilized in a way like this, in a meaningful sort of way. I like how all the pieces are tying together with Penguin and that, and even with the stuff Bruce and Damien have been doing, carrying over from the previous arc, and, incorporating Gotham Irregulars at times during this run. And the Quiet Man, I think, is an interesting antagonist. He's not somebody who aspires for power. He just wants revenge on the one who killed his son, and that's very understandable. I mean, if this were like an action movie without Batman or anything like that, we'd probably all be on his side. It's like, yeah, he wants revenge for what happened. Or like, look, it makes me think of like John Wick in a way, where John Wick just wanted revenge on them for killing his dog and wants to go back to a life of peace, but all these other crazy circumstances were kind of getting in the way of that peace and lifestyle that he wants to have. So yeah, and plus with the reveal of Scarface Ventriloquist being the one who sent the letters and orchestrated this whole plan, I thought that worked out quite well too. So really good stuff overall. Artwork is pretty solid, and I am just bummed that this book is going to be ending soon. All the books I'm really enjoying, of course, they're ending. Green Arrow, loved the hell out of that. Arguably my favorite ongoing at DC. Gone. Batman and Robin, my second favorite ongoing at this point. Up there near the top two, depends on the issues or whatever, going away too. And now I'm left with other stuff. So, I mean, there's some good stuff in that here and there, but I mean, this book in general was just really solid, and so was the other book too. And now that it's all coming to an end, I just feel sad because I'm like, oh, Damien's going to go in like character limbo. Oh, well, not character limbo, but I don't think he'll be portrayed very well. I guess it depends on the writer, because Tom Taylor was doing good stuff in Detective Comics with him. So if he sticks around there, okay, cool. But I haven't really been enjoying his writing in the main Fraction book as of right now. I just compare that to what Philip Kennedy Johnson's doing. It's like night and day. It's not even close. I wish Philip Kennedy Johnson was on the main Batman book, to be honest. I wish this was like the main Batman book. I think we'd be pretty good off, but I guess not so. But anyways, what did you all think of this issue? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Post your comments down below. Be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content, hit that bell for notifications, all the fun stuff. I think I got like 1 or 2 other comic books to come out this week, but I want to get this one out of the way, and that way we're prepped for the rest of the week. But good news is it's out and early, so thank goodness for that. But anyways, thanks so much for watching. As always, take care now. Bye-bye then, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace out.